Welcome back to Frontline's Corner. So I want to talk a little bit today about a topic we've spent some time on in the last few months, but it continues to be something that comes up a lot, and that is valuations. There's a phenomenon right now that we're seeing that I'm calling founder-funder mismatch, and it shouldn't be surprised that a lot of founders and leaders of startups have a different view of where valuation should be than funders who are willing to put risk assets into the space right now. But even seed and Series A, and I've seen some news to the effect that those valuations are more or less stable. That's definitely not the case in our experience. And I think that part of what's happening there is that a lot of insider-led notes and safes and rescue financings just aren't being broadly reported. And so I think the reality is pretty poor across all valuations. This is leading to two things that tend to distort the conversation a little bit. The first is comps or comparisons for valuation. If we're going back maybe 9 months back, they're not really relevant. And so a lot of founders are saying, well, look, companies just like mine raised at a certain valuation in mid 2021, and unfortunately, that's simply not relevant right now. The other thing that distorts the conversation is the fact that the rounds that are reported in newsletter that 3, 4, 5 companies got funded, that's really not telling the whole story. Like so much in the world today, we're seeing tiny fingernail of the truth. And those are the things that are indeed reportable. And even then, it's very hard to tell what's actually gone on within those companies. So I think it's really important for us to kind of reset the thinking, and especially because we, who are very founder-friendly investors, are working with a lot of our founders and founders across the ecosystem on just this subject. So first of all, we talked on prior videos, and I want to reinforce this is the time where you've got to be really transparent and pull your whole village together as a founder. It's the founder and senior team. It's obviously a board of directors. It's great legal counsel, and it's key advisors that founders will listen to. And that village and being really transparent across that as you're trying to solve problems is really important. It also means using the full toolkit of creative structures, and there's a lot of different ways to effectuate things. But the most important thing I want to propose is maybe a different way of thinking about the equation of fundraising. See, most people think of fundraising as I'm going to raise X million dollars against a valuation of Y million dollars. And that can work and can feel good in good economic times, especially when those things are marching up and to the right. But it's really a misleading way to think about valuation, because in fact, what an unrealized company, that is to say a company that still hasn't exited, is actually talking about when you think about raising money is runway toward the milestones that let you either raise again or exit the company as a function of a percentage of the company that you're willing to forego, and so, or to sell for that runway. So it's really important. Getting to certain milestones, which might unlock a next financing or might unlock an exit, and there's a certain amount of the company you're willing to part with. And if it takes $1 million of runway to get to those milestones, and you have a valuation that was $25 million, but you say to yourself, gee, in order to get through this time, to keep my team employed and to get to those milestones, I'm willing to part with 20% of the company, well, then you need to think about the valuation more in terms of, of 4 pre and 5 post. And so I think that equation, runway as a function of the milestones you're trying to achieve to get to the next financing or the exit as a percentage of the company or of the equity of the company, is the way to think about valuation right now, not I need to raise X million dollars at a certain valuation and I hope it's at a big number. So, those are just some thoughts we wanted to share as folks are grappling with what has been an extremely challenging year in the space. The key here is to make it to the other side of times like these, because the cycle always does turn around. It's hard to predict when and how much. But I think companies that do make it through this time are going to be stronger for it. The portfolios that make it through this time are going to be stronger for it. And this is part of the recipe.